Life in a television soap is full of drama. That's the appeal for the millions of people who watch. There on screen, complex issues of life and death and relationships are played out in glorious technicolor in convenient 30-minute slots. But real life isn't like that, and it's not always possible to just switch off the set. That's particularly true for the young victims of Bosnia's war of ethnic cleansing and terror. Although the fighting stopped at the end of 1995, the ordinary young people of Bosnia find it impossible to forget what happened. Flashbacks and nightmares rob them of their sleep, and when they wake, they're painfully aware that it's them and their family and friends that are the realities behind the statistics. But that's not the whole story. Let us show you what we at Novi International are doing to help. Let us show you that in the midst of 1 million heartaches and countless broken dreams, there is a glimmer of hope in people like these.
These young people should be looking towards the future. Instead, they're counting the cost of a war, the latest explosion of violence in an ongoing conflict spanning more than 50 generations. It's a recognized fact that many indicted war criminals from the recent Bosnian conflict were seriously damaged as children in the last. Their fermenting anger led them to add fuel to this raging fire. Bosnia today has more unexploded landmines per square kilometre than almost any other country on Earth. They claim new victims every day. 80% of them are civilians, and most are young people. However, there is hope. We know that with your help, we have and can continue to make a difference in the lives of many of the people who will help shape tomorrow's Bosnia. It is ordinary people like you who are helping to bring about an extraordinary change in that country. It is ordinary people who dare to believe that the love of Jesus can transform lives and that changed people can change a nation, breaking a cycle of hopelessness. Novi International is a Christian mission agency devoted to empowering Bosnia's war children to change their nation for good. These are the very people we want to help to become instruments of healing, reconciliation and hope in their own country and beyond. As you can appreciate, this mammoth task needs energy, commitment and strategy. The Novi strategy involves 3 vital steps. Firstly, we build close, caring relationships with individual young war victims so we can gain a thorough understanding of how trauma affects them and their families. Secondly, having identified the specific building blocks of their trauma, we seek to introduce them to the ministries and services that can help to remove these blocks and dismantle the prison they create. Thirdly, we do everything we can to provide challenges and opportunities for these young people to develop the skills and confidence they need to make a positive contribution to their family, community, and their nation. At Novi International, we take great care to ensure that strategy and structure don't lose sight of the individual. In fact, that's the very thing that drives us. We don't have programs and then look for young people to fit them. We seek out the young person and then develop ministries to serve his or her individual needs. This is the strategy. So, how do we seek to achieve this through our various activities? Our key ministries are relational youth teams, small, highly motivated teams of local Christians and international mission workers. They meet kids in their homes, in the streets, and in refugee camps, building bridges by developing a genuine interest in them. As friendship and trust develops, appropriate advice can be offered in a drop-in centre. Trauma counselling can be given by a qualified Christian psychologist. They can be introduced to sports and arts projects, linked to a supportive youth group, and if necessary, given emergency aid and housing assistance. In fact, almost anything that's needed to help them emerge from the trap of trauma and despair to reach their true potential. The second successful aspect of our work involves residential camps. Our summer camp program has affected the lives of many thousands of people since it started in 1993 at the height of the Bosnian War. Each year, hundreds of young people come to our camps from the various factions of Serbs, Croats and Muslims as sworn enemies. During their time at camp, many take giant steps along the road to reconciliation and forgiveness, leaving as friends. And the benefits and excitement of camp is not just for 1 week in the year. This ministry is specifically designed to fit hand in glove with ongoing relational ministries that touch the lives of campers 365 days in the year. To fulfill our vision will take a lifetime of sacrifice and commitment. Novi International is committed to the people of Bosnia for the long haul. We need your help so that together we can equip the young people of Bosnia to seize the new opportunities for peace.
People are always telling me there's no hope for Bosnia. There's a vicious cycle of war and revenge across the Balkans and it can't be broken. Tito said that in Bosnia, the last 50 generations of young people had been squandered on internal conflict. He said that it was the most traumatised victims of one war that went on to be the leaders of the next. So, is there hope for Bosnia? Well, I want to tell you the story of one young woman by the name of Samira who comes from Mostar because I believe that her story holds hope not just for her and her family, but for troubled people right across that nation. Samira grew up in a loving Muslim family in the eastern part of that divided city. During the war, her father was captured by Croat soldiers. He was taken, tortured, and then executed. When his body was returned to the family, they found that they had carved crosses in his body, in his flesh, because they said this was a Christian victory over Islam. Now, can you just imagine the pain, the confusion, the horror and the hatred that was forced down into Samira's young life as just a child when those things happened? Sometime later, she attended a Christian camp run by Novi International, and there every day she heard a little more of the story of Jesus. One day she heard that Jesus died on a cross. Immediately all those feelings of revulsion and pain came back to the surface. But through that, she was able not to focus so much on the cross, but on the Son of God who died because of his love for her upon that cross. She opened her heart and asked Jesus to come in, and then said that she felt all the hatred, all the pain just melting away. She returned a few days later to her family, to her friends, and she said, "You know, in the last few days, I've experienced more joy and more peace than in the rest of my life put together. Now I want to live my life in forgiveness and peace." You see, lives can be changed by the power of Jesus. And I believe nations can be changed by that power also. But that change has to happen one heart at a time.
As you will know from your television news, there's still a long road ahead. The challenges of Bosnia are obvious. The opportunities remain to be taken. We want to build bridges into the future. The news teams by now have gone in search of the next story, and most of the wartime leaders have gone. But the victims of terror remain. History says they will become the leaders in future conflict. Will will you make a positive decision today to help us ensure that this is the generation that breaks the curse over Bosnia and becomes the instruments of healing, reconciliation, and hope? The choice is yours. If you would like further information on the work of Novi Most International, then please contact us at Novi Most International, Bushel House, 118 to 120 Broad Street, Chesham, Buckinghamshire, HP5 3ED. Telephone 01494 793 242 or fax 01494 793 771 or visit our website at www.novimost.org.